Alrighty guys, we're going to be explaining this practice quiz 2.3, 2.4, no parallel or perpendicular lines involved. That's next week. Right now let's begin with question number 1. It says, write the equation of the line that crosses the y-axis at 3 and has a slope -2. So ask yourself, what are they giving you? What information are they giving you? If it crosses the y-axis, then that technically means the y-intercept, right? So they're giving you the b value when it comes to y equals mx plus b. So they are giving you the b value. So we know that the b value is 3, and we also know that the slope is -2, so they're giving you the slope. Okay, so they gave us the y-intercept, and they gave us the slope, they gave us the b value, they gave us the m value, so all we do is plug it in. So the slope is -2. The -2 should be right here in front of the x. It's either that one or this one. It's either one or the other. And now how about the b value? The b value is +3. This is the one that has +3. There is our answer right there. Let's move on to question number 2. Write an equation in point slope form that has a slope -2 and passes through the point 3, -4. Okay, that came out kind of weird, the 3 over here and the -4 over there. Anyway, let's again ask what they give us. They give us the m value. The m value, the slope is -2. And they don't give us the b value, but they do give us a point. All right, they give us a point, which is a coordinate. I want to write it together, 3, -4. So they give us an x and a y. Technically, it's x1, y1. So we know we need to use point slope form, especially because they're telling us to write it in point slope form. So right off the bat, you could eliminate this one because that one's slope-intercept. That one's definitely not going to be it, even if it is the same equation that has that slope and the y-intercept. But anyway, we have a slope, we have a point. Let's go for the point slope form equation. I'll write it. Y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1. Okay, notice that I use the different colors so you could see it easier when we plug it in. Again, when you use point slope form, I recommend rewriting it with blank spots. We have y minus blank spot equals blank spot parenthesis x minus blank spot. And of course, let's get our y1 value. It's up here, -4. It's going to go right in here, which means we're going to have a -4 right in there. And the reason why I do those blank spots is because you could clearly see the minus negative that has to change to the plus plus. Now, how about that m value of -2? It goes right in there, which means it comes right here, -2. And last but not least, the y1 value, which is -4, goes right here, which goes right here, -4. And again, the minus changes to plus plus. So there's our answer. You don't need 2 pluses. It's just y plus 4, slope -2, that's not -2. Y plus 4, nope, that's not plus 4. Y plus 4, what? Apparently, it is none of these. The correct answer is none of these, okay? Even if they were to ask you to write it in slope-intercept, if they give you a slope and a point, definitely go for point slope form and then change it to slope-intercept by distributing and then by getting rid of this number by subtracting 4 at the very end. We'll get to one of those later, I guess. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the point -15, 9 and has a slope of 4/5. Okay, so this time they are asking for slope. Actually, I should do slope in blue always just to stay color coordinated. Slope-intercept, right? So they call it slope-intercept because you need an m and you need a b to write in y equals mx plus b. Once again, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. Anyway, they are giving us, do they give us a slope and an intercept? They give us a slope for sure. Right there it is. The m value is 4/5. We could write that down right here. M is 4/5. But they do not give us a b value, the y-intercept, right? They give us a point. Okay, so they don't give us a y-intercept, they give us a point. So I want to say this, I want to write down point. So if they give us a point and a slope, then you're going to use point slope form. Okay, once again, they gave us a point, and the point is -15, 9, and they gave us a slope. So I put the point, I put the slope. This is the information that I need to write it in point slope form. My point slope form equation is y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1. As you could see, I left it with blank spots. That way it's really easy to plug in your y1 here, your m right here, and your x1 over here. And like I said, when I plug it in, I always use blank spots. The y1 value is 9, the m value is 4/5, and the x1 value is negative 15. So let's change any minuses to plus plus. Right here it is. Change those to plus. Now keep in mind that they do want it in slope-intercept form, and we just have it in point-slope form. So we want it in slope-intercept. So how are we going to do that? All we have to do is recognize that slope-intercept y equals mx plus b does not have parentheses. So we need to get rid of those parentheses by distributing. Okay, so let's go 4/5 times x. Let's distribute 4/5 times x. You can't really do that, so just put it together. 4/5 x. I mean, you could do it. It's like there's no math to do. You just write them together. 4/5 times x is 4/5 x. And then 4/5 times 15. Well, there's a couple of ways of thinking about this. You could put this over 1, and you could say 4 times 15 is 60, and 5 times 1 is 5. And on the side, if I did have 60 over 5, that would result in the answer 12. Okay, 60 divided by 5 is 12. So we really have a 12 when we distribute it. Another way of thinking about it is you have 4/5, you have 15 over 1. The 5 on the bottom would cancel with the 15, and there would be a 3 left over up here. Okay, the 5 on the bottom would cancel with the 15, there'd be a 3 left over up here, and 4 times 3, let me actually show this. So here's an alternative way of multiplying 4/5 times 15. You could say 5 cancels with 15, and you have the number 3 left over. So 4, because 5's gone already, 4 times 3 gives you that same number, 12. So I showed you two different ways of distributing that fraction. It's pretty easy to distribute. Let's continue. We have the equal sign. We have y minus 9. Last step would be to get rid of that minus 9 by adding 9 and adding 9. And yes, we will have y equals 4/5 x plus 21. There's our slope-intercept form equation. And of course, you want to look for it on your multiple choice. And you feel really good because we found it right here. Moving on. Write the equation of the line that passes through the points. So they give us 2 points, all right? And what's the only thing we could do with 2 points besides graphing them? We could label them x1, y1, x2, y2, and we could apply the slope formula, m equals, and whenever I do apply the slope formula, I start with the division and the subtractions, and then plug in my y2, my y1, my x2, and my x1 value. Okay, so we're going to find the slope, but you know what? Let's read the whole instruction first. Like maybe they do say find the slope and that's it. This one says write the equation, and they actually ask us to write it in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we know we need the slope, so for sure, yeah, we're going to be doing the slope formula. And we also need the y-intercept. So we need y equals mx plus b. Let me just write that down, that this is the form that we want. Actually, let me write it. Y equals mx plus b. So this is what we want it to look like, and this is a question where we type in our answers, and the instructions say don't put spaces between your terms when typing in your answer. So let's begin with the slope, yeah? With that slope formula. And when we begin with that slope formula, we start with the division and the subtractions, and let's plug in the y2 value, which is 2, the y1 value, which is negative 4, the x2 value, which is 1, and the x1 value, which is 1. Once again, actually, no, I'm sorry, it's negative 1. Right here we have a negative. My bad, I totally apologize, don't want to confuse you. Anyway, y2, that's 2, that goes on the top left, top right, y1, that's negative 4, right there, negative 4. Man, I'm messing up. And then on the bottom, x2, bottom left, x2, so on the bottom left we put the 1. Bottom right, x1, which is negative 1, and that's why we put a negative 1 right there. So the minuses change to plus plus. We will have 6 over 2 because 2 plus 4 is 6, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our m value is 3, and that is very, very important, because after all, they want the equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And so far, we needed the m, which we already have, we just found out was 3, and we also need the b, which we're about to find out. Actually, let's not find the b. I mean, you could find the b by plugging in the x value, the y value, and the m value. You could plug in the x, the y, and the m, and get all these numbers, do the math, and solve for b. Or, since as of right now we have a point, we actually have 2 points, and we also have a slope, we could use one of these points and this slope and plug it into point-slope form and then manipulate it, right? So it's totally up to you if you want to use the first point or the second point. Both would give you the same exact equation because it's the same line. So let's go with the first point, and let's go with point-slope form. And there's a point-slope form equation, y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Let me rewrite it with blank spots. And we're going to simply plug in the x1 value, which is negative 1. Okay, so negative 1 is going to go over here where the x1 is at. That is a negative 1. We're going to take the m value of 3. We know m is 3. Let's plug in the 3 right here. I don't exactly know why I'm going from right to left instead of left to right. It doesn't matter. We're just plugging in all the values. The y1 value is negative 4. That's going to go in right there, negative 4. And of course, minus is changed to plus plus. So we end up with y plus 4 equals 3 times x plus 1. And again, the instructions say write it in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So obviously, y equals mx plus b doesn't have parentheses, so we need to get rid of the parentheses by distributing. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. Bring down the equal sign. Y plus 4 comes down. And my last step to get y by itself would be to subtract 4 and subtract 4, giving us the y equals 3x minus 1 slope-intercept form equation, which is the correct answer. When you type it in, don't put any spaces between the y and the equals, or the equals and the 3, or the 3 and the x. No spaces in anything. You type it in, y equals 3x minus 1 is the correct answer. That's what my computer says right here, y equals 3x minus 1. Moving on to question number 5. This one's ridiculously easy. It says find the slope. All you have to do is count. I know it's kind of blurry right here. It'll be clear on your screen. And I actually give you 2 points. Now remember, this is a practice test. On the real test, you might have to find your own points, nice points, all right? What do I mean by nice points? You're not going to pick that one. It's not in the nice coordinate. You got to find nice points, and obviously these 2 red dots are the nice points. So we know it says find the slope, and we know that slope is rise over run. And we know that rise could be positive if it's going up, or it could also be negative if from left to right it's going down. It could be negative if it's going down. But the run, we know that we always choose to look at lines from left to right, so that denominator is always positive, okay? So just the way we read a sentence from left to right, that's how we're going to look at this line from left to right. So you see my red dot, it's going from left to right. Is it going up or is it going down? It's going down, obviously. So that means that if it's going down, it's going to be a negative rise. So how much does it go down from one level to the other level? From this level up here at this red dot to this level down here at that red dot, how much does it go down? It goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5 is the rise. So here's my fraction. Negative 5 is the rise. So if I do go down 5, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how much do I go over? How much do I run from left to right? I run 1, 2, 3. So I'm running a positive 3. Okay, so the slope is negative 5/3. As you can see, there's a multiple choice answer, negative 5/3. That is your slope. Another one, find the slope. This one's just as easy. This time I'll actually draw how I'm counting, all right? So from here up to here, I'm going up 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, right? So that's a positive rise. That's a positive rise of 4. The rise is positive. And then I run 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. The run is 3. So obviously the rise over run is 4 over 3. Ta-da, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So 4 over 3 is the correct answer right there. Let's continue on here. It says find the slope formula. Just like the previous question, you want the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's what the slope formula is. And of course, label your coordinates. And then you simply plug them into your slope formula. And again, I would begin with what's in blue, which is the division and the subtraction symbols. So y2 is 2, y1 is 7, x2 is 4, x1 is 6. 2 take away 7 equals negative 5 up on top, and on the bottom 4 take away 6 is negative 2. And we know that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So there's your answer, positive 5 over 2. You can't reduce it. That's all you could do. Moving on. Question 8. Another one, find the slope that passes through. So since I already wrote the formula on the previous one, I'm just going to continue by plugging in these values. And of course, we need to label the points to know which one's the x1, y1. So they're labeled. Now let's plug in y2, which is 2, y1, which is 1, x2, which is 5, x1, which is 10. And by the way, guys, if I'm going too fast here, please pause the video so you could keep going as you're working with this, right? 2 take away 1, up on top, 2 take away 1 is 1, and 5 take away 10 is negative 5. Of course, we want to put that negative either in the middle of the fraction or up on top. The fact is, that's really a negative 1/5, right? The slope is negative 1/5. Looking for it on the multiple choice, it is right there, negative 1/5. Moving on. What type of slope does the graph have? Now, I do want to emphasize this. Be very careful when you read the sentences, especially when it comes to the test, because how do I do the test? I take the practice test and I just change a little detail about it, all right? So right here, I'm definitely asking for what type of slope does this line have? I don't know if you could see it, but it's a dot right there, and it's the line going through those two dots. That's obviously totally flat. The slope is 0. The m is 0. Okay, now what do I mean by be careful with the test? What kind of changes might I make? Well, maybe instead of what type of slope, I might ask you what is the equation of this line right here, all right? I might ask you, what is equation of line? So I might give you the same exact line, but instead of what is a slope, I ask you what is the equation. So remember, when it's a horizontal line, totally flat, crossing the y-axis at, where does it cross it at? It crosses it at 1, 2, 3. Crossing the y-axis at 3, the equation would be y equals 3. Likewise, if I had, I know we don't have one here, but let's say I had a line crossing the x-axis perfectly vertically up and down, with an undefined slope. If I asked you what's the equation of that red line, that would be the equation x equals 2, because that's a vertical line crossing the x-axis at 2. So be very careful whether I'm asking for the slope or for what type of equation is it, okay? So this black line has the slope 0. That's why the answer is 0, because I'm asking for slope. If I said, what is the slope of this guy that's undefined? It's so steep it's undefined. So that would have been undefined if it were this red line. Now, what if I asked you, what is the equation of this black line? Well, that would be y equals 3, because that line crosses the y-axis at 3 without a slope. And what is this equation? That's the equation x equals 2, because it's an undefined slope and it crosses the x-axis at 2. Let's move on to number 10. Oh, wait a minute. I guess I already did this one. What is the equation of this line? It doesn't say what is the slope. If it said slope, you would say undefined, but it says what is the equation of this line? This equation is x equals negative 2. It's just a vertical line crossing the x-axis at negative 2. Moving on to the second half. Number 11, find the slope of the line that passes through those 2 points. Okay, we've been doing several of these. As you could see, ladies and gentlemen, your x's are both the same, okay? So when you plug it into the slope formula, your x's are the same, which means that when you plug in those same exact values, a negative 9 minus a negative 9, that's going to be negative 9 plus 9, which is going to become 0. So this is pretty simple to understand. If the x's are exactly the same, that means that your denominator is going to be 0, and you know you cannot divide by 0. Even Siri says that 0 is undefined, right? So this is an undefined slope. I hope that makes sense. When 0's underneath, the slope is undefined. Undy. 0's underneath, the slope is undefined. Again, if you don't remember that, just type it into a calculator. Whatever number you get up here, divided by 0, it's going to say error. You should automatically know, oh, that's undefined. You can't find that slope. so steep you can't define it. Find the slope of this guy. So same deal, but this time it's not your x values that are, sorry about that, man. It's not your x values that are the same, it's your y values that are the same, okay? So when we look at the slope formula and we recognize that the y values are the same, when you plug in, you know what, for the sake of being thorough here, we should label them xy, 1, 1, 2, 2. But when you plug in your y values that are exactly the same up here, you're gonna have 8 take away 8, which is 0, and we know that 0 divided by anything is 0. And if you did that on a calculator, it would also tell you that the answer is 0. It doesn't matter if you have a negative 13 down here or a positive 50, 0 divided by any number will be 0. Moving on. Write the equation of the line that crosses the y-axis, -3, and has a slope. Okay, what are they asking us? What are they giving us? They want us to write an equation. They don't tell us in any form. Obviously, our multiple choice are all in slope-intercept form, which means we need a slope, which they give us, the m value is 2, and we need a y-intercept. What is a y-intercept really? It's where it crosses the y-axis. So this is your b value. They give it to you straight out. So y equals mx plus b is what it is. And of course, y equals the m value of 2 plus -3. And you know what? You don't even need that plus sign. You could just say y equals 2, whoops, I forgot the x. Y equals 2x minus 3. So there's your answer, y equals 2x minus 3. Write an equation in point slope form that has a slope -2 and passes through the point 3, -4. All right, so they want point slope form. So there's our point slope form, and they do give us a slope, and they do give us a point, x being 3 and y being -4. So all we got to do is plug it in. Let's begin by rewriting the point slope form with blank spots. So what is our y1 value? We could clearly see it's -4, so put -4 right in there. What is our m value? Our m value is -2, put the -2 right there. And what is our x1 value? It is 3, that goes right in there. There's your point slope form equation. Which one is it? Well, don't forget to change the minus to plus plus. So which one says y plus 4? There it is, y plus 4, slope -2, x minus 3 in parentheses. This one's it. There is your answer. Moving on. Another ridiculously easy one. They say write your equation of the line that has the slope of 3 and has the y, it crosses the y-axis at 1/2. So what are they really giving you? They're giving you an m, which is equal to 3, and they're giving you a b, which is 1/2. All you have to do is plug in those m values and b value, the m value and the b value, and you will get y equals 3x plus 1/2. There it is. The m value is 3, the b value is 1/2. So this is your answer right there. Some students get confused because they think, oh, the fraction has to be the slope, right? Rise over run. Wrong. It tells you slope is 3, crosses the y-axis at 1/2. Yeah, you could get a b value that's a decimal or a fraction. So don't freak out. That's your answer. Y equals mx plus b. Which of the following is the point slope form? Well, that's slope-intercept. That's a slope formula. It kind of looks like point slope form, but it should be y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. So this is not it, and this is definitely not it. It should be y minus y1, not x1. So the answer here is none of these are correct. Ew, I love these. Check it out. Select all the following true statements. You guys like true and false questions, right? But it's not just, is this true or false? You got to select all the true statements. So let's begin with the first statement. If a line never crosses the y-axis, then it must have a slope of 0. Okay, the only way to really understand whether this is true or false is to get a visual. Okay, so let's just do a quick sketch somewhere on your paper. You have an xy plane, right? This is your x, this is your y. It says a line never crosses the y-axis. We know that y is the one running up and down. So if you draw any line, like if you were to draw this line, that blue line is going to cross the y-axis, so that's not good enough. So if you want a line that never crosses the y-axis, it's going to have to be going straight up and down, right? Straight up and down, parallel with that y-axis. That way it'll never cross. Anyway, it's saying if a line never crosses the y-axis, like this blue one, then it must have the slope of 0. wait a minute, that slope's not 0. We know 0 slope is totally flat. This is totally vertical. So this is undefined. So that's not it, right? So that cannot be it. X equals 3 is a vertical line that has an undefined slope. Yeah, I hope we remember that x equals 3. If you go to the x value of 3 and you put a vertical line through it, that is the equation x equals 3. Okay. A totally flat one, like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say you had a totally flat one crossing the y value of 5. That red one would be the equation y equals 5. Remember, when they're totally flat or totally vertical, it's simply going to be y equals that flat line that crosses the y value at whatever location it's at, so y equals 5. If it's totally vertical, it's going to be x equals wherever it crosses the x-axis, x equals 3. So x equals 3 is a vertical line that has an undefined slope. Heck yeah, that's absolutely true. So that is one of the correct answers. You bubble that in. What else? It says it's not possible to change a point-slope form equation to a slope-intercept form equation. That is absolutely false, right? We could easily change this point-slope form equation. We could easily change it to slope-intercept. All we have to do is distribute to get rid of the parentheses and then add whatever the number this is, or do the opposite and do the opposite, and then it'll be y equals mx plus b. So that's definitely false. Let's see what else we have over here. Y equals 5 is a horizontal line. Yeah, actually we already drew that. We drew that over here. Y equals 5 is a horizontal line. I could have even gone further and said that the slope is 0. So be very careful when you read these, because maybe on the real test I say y equals 5 and it has an undefined slope, and that would make it false, because y equals 5 is a horizontal line, which makes it slope 0. Okay, so be very careful with what you read. So this one's absolutely right. Y equals 5 is a horizontal line. What else? If you have the same exact x values when trying to find the slope given 2 points, your slope will always be undefined. Okay, well, again, in order for us to verify this, we need to think about the actual slope formula. And we have to think about coordinates, right? So you could make up your own 2 points that have the same exact x values. I mean, that's what they're saying, right? Right here they're saying if you have the same exact x values. Okay, so let's actually do 2 points with the same x values. So here are 2 coordinates, and let's make the x values be both the number 2. I don't know. And it doesn't matter what your y values are. You could put a 5 and a 3, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that the x values are exactly the same, the 2 and the 2. So if I plug in those 2 and 2 x's right here, what is 2 take away 2? That's 0, and we know that 0 in the denominator is undefined. And that's exactly what this statement says. If you have the same exact x values when trying to find the slope given 2 points, your slope will always be undefined. So yes, that is absolutely true. If you have any number divided by 0, and that's what happens when you have the same x value, it is undefined. So this is a correct answer also. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do is select all 3 of these and then submit your answer. Okay? That's how to get it right. Let's move on. Write the equation in point-slope form. Well, we have 2 points here. I guess it's important to identify these points. I apologize how blurry this is, but this coordinate right here appears to be -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, -4. That is one coordinate, -1, -4. The other coordinate happens to be 1, 1, 2, 3, so 1, -3. So this point up here is 1, -3. Okay, so yes, we could do the slope formula, but why would we use algebra when we could simply count how much do you rise and how much do you run? Well, you rise 1 and you run 2. So there's your slope. That is what you need for slope-intercept or for point slope. It doesn't really matter. They're asking for point slope. Okay, so point slope is that right there. And we have the m so far, but we need a point. And we have 2 points, right? So I believe I would use the first point from left to right, but technically it would also be correct with this point. But let's go with this one. So I am going to plug in a -1 for x. Let me actually rewrite this coordinate right here. Let me rewrite it bigger over here. The coordinate -1, -4. Okay, so that's our x1, y1. And let's plug it into our point slope form with blank spots. And of course, y1 is -4. Our m value is 1/2. We found that by just counting rise over run. And the x1 value is -1. So of course, change the minus to plus, and there's your answer. Y plus 4 equals 1/2 parentheses x plus 1. Y plus 4 equals 1/2 parentheses x plus 1. That is your answer. Moving on to question 19, write the equation in point slope form again. And keep in mind, on the quizzes, I changed the practice to the actual quiz by changing one little word or one number or one line. So I might ask you to write them in Slope-Intercept, which is just as easy. All you have to do would be to like distribute and then subtract 4, and then that would be in Slope-Intercept. Anyways, question 19, write the equation of the line in point slope form. So same question, let's take these points, that point and that point. Okay, that coordinate is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other point is 1, 2, and 1. So 2 and 1, 2, 1. All right, so what is point slope form once again? And again, when you use point slope form, use blank spots and then plug in your values. But before even plugging in our values, we need all the values. And so far we have 1 point, 2 points, but we don't have the slope yet. Let's count. From left to right, it is going down. Okay, from left to right, it's going down. That means that the rise is negative. So how much do you actually go down from this level to this level? You go down 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units. So that's a -3 up on top as a numerator, and you run 1, 2. So -3 over 2 is your slope. M equals -3 over 2. So you have a -3 over 2 right here. And if we plug in the first point, 0, 4, 0 for x, 4 for y, and we look at those multiple choice answers, it's not there, right? Okay, so that's fine. It's not there, but they might have used the other point, which in this case they did. They actually used, let me highlight it here, they used the coordinate 2, 1 instead of 0, 4. That is possible. So all we've got to do is plug it in. Y minus, instead of the y value of 4, we're going to go with the second point, the y value of 1, equals m, -3/2, parenthesis, x minus 1, x1, which is, the second point, x value, which is 2. And that is your correct answer, which is right here. That one was kind of weird. Usually we use the first point, but it is possible to write the same equation with the other point. Any point works, but most of the time we use the first point. In this case, they use the second point. Whew, almost done. Oh yeah, this one's extra fun. It says, which of the following equations represents the line? So there's many of the same equations just written in different forms or written with different values, but it's the same exact line. So they give us a line, they give us 2 points. Let's begin by writing this equation in point slope form, since we could clearly see some points, which is right there. That's the coordinate 1, 2, 3, -1. And we also have the point 0, -2, okay? So let's begin by doing point slope form. And of course, we need a slope. So from left to right, is this line going up or down? It's going up, so that means it's a positive rise. How much does it rise? It actually goes up 1 level from one dot to the other, and then you run 1, 2, 3. So up 1 over 3, your slope is up 1 over 3, 1/3. That is your slope, okay? So we have a 1/3 slope right there. Not only that, guys, we actually have the y-intercept value. The b value is -2. So right off the bat, we could write it in y equals mx plus b. Y equals 1/3 x minus 2. That is definitely an equation. If it's on the multiple choice, obviously check that, because that is the correct answer in slope-intercept form. That's a correct equation. Let's continue on here. Y minus y1. Okay, so let's use the first point, x1, y1. Y minus y1, that'd be y minus a -2 equals the slope 1/3 x minus x1, which happens to be 0. So this might be an option, right? That might be an equation, y plus 2 equals 1/3 x minus 0. And there it is. Y plus 2 equals 1/3 x minus 0. What about this guy right here? Let's see if we find that guy. Y equals 1/3 x minus 2. Yep, it is right here. And you know what? We did use the first point. Maybe we could use the second point and see if it's there. That will be y minus y1. But in this case, let's use the point 3, negative 1. So instead of the point 0, negative 2, let's try to use the second point. So y minus the y1, which in this case is negative 1, equals m, equals, the m is always going to be the same, doesn't matter which form you use, parenthesis x minus x1, which is 3. So let's see if we could find this one anywhere, but just change it to a y plus 1 instead of minus minus. So y plus 1 equals 1/3 times x minus 3. That is right here. Y plus 1 equals 1/3 times x minus 3. And finally, the last one. Dang, I like this last one because it's so easy. They finally give us an easy one where it says, write in slope-intercept form. So all you need is your m and your b, which is the y-intercept. So it's pretty easy. Your m value is up 1 over 1, 2. So the m value is up 1 over 2. And what is the b value? It's the location of where it crosses your y-axis, which clearly it's right there at 0. So the b value is 0. So what is your equation? Y equals 1/2 x plus 0, which you don't even need the plus 0. So there's your answer, y equals 1/2 x. And that is the correct answer right there. I'm done. Good luck with the test tomorrow.